to 92. Judges David Sutherland and Chris Migliori both score the bout 98 to 91. All three in favor of the winner, the problem child, Jake Paul.
Grateful for now than anything. And no knockers. Knockers don't mean nothing. You gotta be able to go the distance. That's fighting.
Everybody has a plan until they get hit. Yeah. You got hit, and how did it affect you?
I went to plan B. I hit him back.
Mike Tyson dropping a bombshell after losing to Jake Paul. It's the kind of headline that makes you double check if you're in some alternate universe. But here we are. I know this is the last thing Tyson fans wanted to see, but yeah, it happened. The legendary Mike Tyson, at 58 years old, lost a fight to Jake Paul. And then, just to keep things interesting, he came out with a post-fight revelation that had everyone's jaws on the floor.
We gotta do this again.
I can already hear half of you screaming, "This fight had to be rigged," while the other half is probably clutching their chests, still processing the trauma of watching the ref lift Jake Paul's hand over Tyson's. But hey, it's 2024 and weird things are officially the norm.
I haven't did this in 15, 16 years. I'm not a giant, I'm a beginner.
Did he ever hurt you tonight?
Well, listen, he surprised me with the hook. He hit me with a hook, a good hook.
Hurt.
Yes, it did hurt.
And that's why the fight that wrapped up just hours ago at AT&T Stadium wasn't your run-of-the-mill boxing match. Nope, it was the kind of spectacle that left the whole world clutching its collective jaw in disbelief. Months of build-up, endless debates, and expectations sky high, all culminating in this showdown, which was streamed live on Netflix because, you know, when you've got a 58-year-old Mike Tyson entering the ring, even Netflix wants in on the drama.
Like Mike, there's just no appetite for this. It just doesn't make sense. The other thing is Mike having to pull out because of ulcers, like that f***ed it all up. Jake's team's brilliant, so maybe it's a Trojan horse, like I've said before. Hey, just get this across, we'll get the views, and then they're gonna sign 3 fights, some sort of deal, or gets the UFC. I don't know. I don't see the upside.
Tyson, a name that used to send shivers down spines, facing off against Jake Paul, the guy most famous for pranking his own brother and hawking body spray like it's a life necessity. The storyline was set, and it was simple. Tyson was supposed to crush Jake Paul. No questions, no debate. Everyone expected Mike to flatten Jake like a pancake in the first few minutes.
On Friday night when I put this man to sleep, so that is pretty dope.
He dreamed a lot.
A lot of dreams.
I knew it would all come true.
This is not gonna come true, young man.
But here's where reality did that thing where it laughs in your face. Jake Paul, the very same guy who's made a living out of wearing fat suits and posting "How many chicken nuggets can I eat?" challenges on social media, flipped the script in a way that made everyone's head spin. Jake didn't just survive in the ring. He delivered a knockout punch so brutal that the unthinkable happened. Mike Tyson couldn't get back up. Yeah, you heard it. Jake Paul, the human meme, put Iron Mike on the canvas and left him there.
What did you initially think when you heard that Mike Tyson was going to be getting in the ring with Jake?
I was thinking that Jake Paul was going to be in trouble because, you know, Mike Tyson knows how to throw great body punches, great headshots. And, you know, we just have to see if he's going to do them in the ring. I'm hoping that he'll do that.
A reality-breaking, universe-shattering moment, if there ever was one. And fans everywhere were left rubbing their eyes like they were having a collective hallucination. It was the kind of scene that made you wonder if the world had finally gone off the rails.
This is a scary, scary man. He's a killer and has all the power still clearly in all the videos, all the sparring that he's showing, dropping his sparring partners. My mom is messaging, she can't even watch Tyson punch. She won't watch it because it scares her.
But let's roll back a bit and talk about Jake Paul's reputation, or more accurately, the circus that is his public image. This is a guy whose training sessions have looked more like pre-game tailgates than athletic preparation. He'd post clips of himself eating junk food, acting like the idea of running laps was some form of medieval torture.
I have big plans and I'm continuing to, again, do the impossible and show people what I'm capable of. And they chalk up what I've done to fights being rigged. Still, when he posts on his Instagram looking like a killer.
No one took him seriously. The boxing purists dismissed him as a joke, a sideshow act, a distraction from the real sport. If you had the nerve to suggest Jake could actually fight, you'd probably get laughed right out of any serious boxing conversation. Jake Paul was a punchline, not a contender, or so everyone thought.
That used to bother me. That used to bother me because I was like, no, I'm working so hard, can't you people see? But now I take it as a compliment because the human peon brain of the 99% can't even comprehend how good I've gotten and what I'm accomplishing in this world.
And yet, behind all those ridiculous antics, Jake Paul was scheming. Beneath the layers of social media foolishness was a game plan so sneaky that you almost have to respect it. Sure, he kept saying he'd shock the world, but no one paid attention. Why would they? This was Jake Paul after all.
He's not gonna win. I think he thinks this is gonna be a very easy night. It's not gonna be an easy night.
I don't think that. I think it's going to be a war of ages. The fans are the ones who win out of this, but I know you, I know your soul on a deeper level, and I know myself, and I know you're not going to quit.
Except here's the thing. Jake wasn't all talk. He trained, and he trained hard, out of the spotlight, away from the doubters and trolls. His goal wasn't to just show up and collect a paycheck. He was dead set on proving everyone wrong. And when he stepped into that ring, it was obvious this was not the same guy who'd been hamming it up for the cameras.
Yeah, 100%. And I have to stay active. I have to stay working towards my goal of becoming a world champion. So there needs to be 3 fights a year for me at least. And that's how I get better, is under the bright lights and performing when there's adrenaline and nerves.
Mike Tyson stepping into the ring at almost 58 years old isn't just a sporting event, it's the stuff of legends. I mean, most guys his age are swapping boxing gloves for golf clubs and boasting about how they once bench pressed 200 pounds back in the day. But not Tyson. This is the same guy who in his prime didn't just want to beat his opponents, he once said he'd eat their hearts. And guess what?
I'm just ready to go.
Now, does a loss to Jake Paul damage your legacy?
I don't look at my life as a legacy. Legacy to me means ego. Who the about my legacy? I'm gonna be dead soon one day, but he's not gonna win.
Even as he creeps towards 60, that wild, unstoppable fire hasn't cooled down one bit. It's 2024, and Tyson could have easily looked at this fight and thought, nah, I'm good, and nobody would have questioned it. Let's be real. Most men his age are focused on keeping their cholesterol in check, not squaring off against a power-punching maniac like Jake Paul.
Round 5, and Jake's looking for the finish. He's hurt! On the ropes! Jake Paul putting it on here! Realizing big-time round for Jake Paul.
But there he was, a 57-year-old living icon, walking into the AT&T Stadium like it was the Roman Colosseum, ready to remind everyone why he's still called the baddest man on the planet. And if you thought he was just there to take a few hits and cash a check, think again. Tyson meant business. From the very first round, he turned back the clock in a way that had people rubbing their eyes in disbelief.
Unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, David Yakabuchi, scores about 97 to 92.
Those infamous uppercuts, the same ones that once shattered jaws and dreams in the 80s, were back with a vengeance. Joe Rogan, who was calling the fight, nearly lost his voice when Tyson landed a brutal left uppercut in round 1. Jake Paul's knees buckled, his hands flailed around like he was swatting invisible flies, and for a split second, it looked like Jake was about to take an unscheduled nap on the canvas. And let's talk about Tyson's footwork. It wasn't just good for a 58-year-old, it was good, period. The man hadn't fought at this level in years, but he was ducking and weaving like it was 1988 all over again. Jake Paul, who had swaggered into this fight full of cocky confidence, suddenly looked like a kid who'd picked a fight with his dad and was immediately regretting it. Tyson's strength, his agility, his total disregard for the reality of aging, it was all on full display. It was pure, unfiltered, classic Tyson, and it was a sight to behold.
For the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson!
But then came the harsh reminder that even legends are human. By round 3, the toll on Tyson's body was impossible to ignore. This was no Hollywood comeback story where the hero stays invincible forever. Twitter lit up with fans jokingly calling these the ulcer-inducing rounds because watching a 57-year-old Mike Tyson push through every strained breath and stiff movement was tough. Yet Tyson never once played the age card. He didn't complain, didn't ask for anyone's pity. He could have thrown in the towel and the entire world would have given him a standing ovation for just showing up. But that's not who he is. To Tyson, fighting is about heart and defiance, about telling Father Time to take a hike. And just when it looked like Tyson's sheer willpower might still carry him through, the fight took a turn so wild it belonged in a Hollywood script. Jake Paul, who had been looking one uppercut away from calling it quits, suddenly found a burst of energy that made no sense. Referee Steve Willis was this close to stopping the fight when Jake was backed into a corner, barely holding on as Tyson unloaded a barrage of punches. The crowd was on their feet, waiting for Tyson to seal the deal.
On the ropes! Jake Paul putting it on here! Realizing big-time round for Jake Paul. Big round, big round, big shot.
Then, in the blink of an eye, Jake Paul delivered a right hook that made the entire stadium gasp. It wasn't just a counter. It was an earth-shattering comeback punch that turned the fight upside down. Tyson, who had been in total control, was suddenly the one in trouble. Jake, smelling blood in the water, went on the offensive with a flurry of punches that looked more like an angry swarm of bees. Social media, of course, exploded. Jake Paul steroids started trending in minutes, with conspiracy theorists breaking down every frame of the fight to prove Jake was juiced. People were digging up old photos, pointing out muscle definition like it was some CSI investigation. But when the official tests came back clean, it left everyone even more stunned. Turns out, Jake Paul's power wasn't due to a secret lab session, but good old-fashioned training.
Migliore both score the bout 98 to 91. All three in favor of the winner, the problem child, Jake Paul. Your winner.
Turns out Jake had been playing a masterful psychological game. Experts began dissecting the fight, realizing that Jake had deliberately taken a beating early on, luring Tyson into a false sense of control. It was like he was playing possum, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He let Tyson exhaust himself, absorbed the punishment, and then pounced when the legend's energy waned. It was the kind of strategy that seemed absurd until it actually worked. So yeah, the prankster turned boxer didn't just survive. He outfoxed and outlasted one of the most dangerous fighters in history. The fight wasn't just a spectacle, it was a shocking, dramatic roller coaster that left everyone speechless, proving once and for all that, like it or not, Jake Paul is here to stay.